Frankly, I'm offended by the tone and tenor of this hearing. I'm offended by a $4 trillion government bullying, berating, and badgering one of America's greatest success stories. You know, tell me one of these politicians up here who doesn't minimize their taxes. Tell me a chief financial officer that you would hire if he didn't try to minimize your taxes legally. Tell me what Apple's done that is illegal. I'm offended by a government that uses the IRS to bully Tea Parties, but I'm also offended by a government that convenes a hearing to bully one of America's greatest success stories. I'm offended by the spectacle of dragging in executives from an American company that is not doing anything illegal. If anyone should be on trial here, it should be Congress. I frankly think the committee should apologize to Apple. I think that the Congress should be on trial here for creating a bizarre and Byzantine tax code that runs into the tens of thousands of pages, for creating a tax code that simply doesn't compete with the rest of the world. This committee will admit that Apple hasn't broken any laws, yet we are forced to sit, and Apple is forced to sit through a show trial at the whims of politicians, when in fact Congress should be on trial for chasing the profits of great American companies overseas. We haul before this committee one of America's greatest success stories, and you want applause? I say instead of Apple executives, we should have brought in here today a giant mirror, okay? So we could look at the reflection of Congress, because this problem is solely and completely created by the awful tax code. If you want to assign blame, the committee needs to look in this mirror and see who created the mess. See who created this tax code that is chasing American companies overseas. Our corporate tax code is double Canada's. I never thought I'd be complimenting Canada for their tax code. Ours is double Canada, double a lot of Europe. Instead of complaining that theirs is too low, why don't we set about to work that ours is too high? Apple has 600,000 jobs they've created, American jobs, and we want to drag them before this committee to chastise them? I find it abominable. Just in my state, we have $700 million in sales from Dow Corning. They make the Gorilla Glass. They were virtually out of business. In the 1990s, Apple struggled. If I had to guess, unfortunately, I didn't guess enough to invest in Apple, but the thing is that in the 90s, people were worried they might go out of business. You know, they had one computer wasn't doing well, and then all of a sudden the innovation that came about. And we want to bring them forward and chastise them for their success. A couple of years ago, we did repatriation of foreign capital. If we want the capital to come home, don't double tax it. We tax it at 35%. Let's tax it at 5%. I have a bill that would repatriate profits from foreign companies at 5% and put it into infrastructure. Our country is woefully short of money for infrastructure. But you're not going to get it at 35%. You're getting zero. Let's make it 5% and create an infrastructure fund. There are probably 70 votes for that bill in Congress, but nobody will bring it up. Why? They say, oh, it's the sweetener for overall tax reform, which is elusive and a hill too tall to climb and never seems to get here. Why not tomorrow pass it? Why do you think people are frustrated with Congress? Because we don't do the right thing. Everybody admits, even those who want to drag Apple before this committee, they admit that our tax code's part of the problem. That if we had repatriation at 5%, that they would bring money home. Why don't we just pass it? Instead, it has to be revenue neutral, scored by the CBO. Just pass it if it's the right thing to do. I would say that what we really need to do is apologize to Apple, compliment them for the job creation they're doing, and get about doing our job. Look in the mirror and let's make the tax code better, fairer, and more competitive worldwide. Money goes where it's welcome. Currently, our tax code makes money not welcome in this country. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.